Okay, hello. We're back. Riftbound, Vendetta, previous season. I'm going through the whole bunch of cards that were revealed for me late Friday night, and then over the weekend. Over the weekend, I was busy with a convention, an anime convention, and then also I was casting Summoner Skirmish here in Sydney on the Sunday. The VOD should come up on YouTube probably either tonight, maybe tomorrow. And then this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will be not at home, so I won't be able to film for those few days. But what I'll probably do is I'll collate um, all of the reveals for this week from basically for me it's starting tomorrow, but it's Monday US time. I'll collate all of those from that Monday through to Friday, and I'll put them all out in one big video for the week on the Friday in Australia time. So this is just to catch up on all those cards that were released over the late Friday night through to the weekend, and to get you up to speed until week 2 of reveal season. So these aren't in any particular order. I just picked them up just to make sure I had them all. So I haven't managed to go through and quite order it all. And I haven't really looked at many of these because I was super busy over the weekend. So you'll probably be getting not so much a very considered response to some of these, but we'll see how we go. So, first up, we have a 4 energy gear in Body Tools of Empire. It has Empower for 2 energy, and Exhaust. Give a unit +2 this turn. If this is empowered, give that unit +4 this turn instead. This is probably meant to be for Ambessa, who, when you empower something else, you empower the legend. So this is an easy way of getting some extra might on board, and also, fulfilling your legend's ability for a fairly okay cost. 4 energy to begin with is a little bit steep, and then 2 extra to empower it. But +2 or +4 might for just an exhaust following on from that is not a bad deal. Next, we have the Corrupted Dragon, 10 energy and 2 body power for a 10 might unit. Dragon, if your score is not within 3 points of the victory score, I enter ready. When I attack, you may move any number of enemy units here, each with 5 might or less to its base. That is pretty nuts. So obviously this would be going pretty nicely into Aurora, but you're also probably not playing this in Aurora because your other enters the battlefield effects are just better. Elder Dragon kills more things. I think you'll probably side this in an Elder Dragon Aurora deck, only because if you're going against, let's say, Victor tokens, right? You're getting more out of it by being able to push all of those 1 might recruit tokens back to base than you are with Elder Dragon, whereas 1 damage to 1 recruit at a battlefield, like at each battlefield and base, right? So I think maybe it's a sideboard depending on what deck you're coming up against, because otherwise I don't think the when you play me effect is that impactful compared to many of the other more meta Riftbound decks, considering mostly we're seeing individual units that are then buffed to get to higher might totals, rather than necessarily like Swarm is not exactly that popular. Not saying that they don't exist. Rek'Sai, Darius, Victor, etc. still exist. But it's a lot better against those, but in this current meta, it's probably more of a sideboard dragon in Aurora than it is an actual main board card. I am also recovering from a cold, by the way, so if I need to cough or blow my nose, I'll try and cut it out, but who knows. All right, we have the Kennen Order champion unit, 3 energy for a 2 might unit. It has Hidden. When you play me or I attack, you may pay 2 energy to stun a unit. While there is a stunned enemy unit here, I have +2 might. So this is actually kind of good in Leona, to be honest, because it gives you a free stun from Hidden as well, and also ensures that you get extra might onto that battlefield as well. So it really improves Leona's sort of unit density and also stun count. So yeah, pretty good in Leona, to be honest. I don't know how this will really work out in an actual cannon deck though. Considering cannon is mostly about self-mill, this doesn't really help your game plan in that sense at all. I mean, the stun is kind of nice, but you already have back off, existential dread, some other stuff. Maybe if you're playing the hidden package, but then you're in order, so you're probably not as much because you'll probably have like hidden blade and stuff. So yeah, I think this is mainly more of a Leona card than it is a actual cannon card, hilariously enough. All right, now we have the Mel Legend in Calm and in Mind and Chaos, excuse me. When you empower something else, empower me, disempower me, and exhaust, give a unit at a battlefield -2 might this turn. I believe we've already seen this previously. If we haven't, then here it is. I believe this is the over number, so there you go. That's probably why I just included it. This is the over number. Alrighty, 3 energy for a spell in Body. Rampage. As you play this, you may pay 1 body power as an additional cost. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit. If you paid the additional cost, give the friendly unit +2 might this turn. They deal damage equal to their mights to each other. So this is kind of a weird challenge. It's probably less power intensive than challenge. I should probably double check that actually. Before I go spouting off some bullshit. But it's kind of in Body, you're looking at having higher might units anyway, so I don't see why the +2 is that important yet, at least in the decks that do play a challenge. Challenge is 2 energy and a body power. For choosing a friendly unit and an enemy unit, they deal damage equal to their mights to each other. It is also at action speed, so it is both cheaper in all sense of the word, and it's also got more flexibility. So you're really choosing this for the +2, and I don't see why you would. So yeah, just play challenge, I guess. Challenge just seems better. Alrighty, 2 energy for a 2 might unit in Calm, Mournful Witness. When a combat that I was in ends, empower me, and then when they are empowered, I have +2 might. So this kind of goes nuts in Akali, because Akali can pull back Witness, the combat ends, she becomes empowered, and then you throw her back in. So it's a 2 energy 4 might unit, essentially. In most cases in Akali. And even then, 2 energy for 2 might when you're playing it turn 1 is kind of on rate. So yeah, pretty good Akali 2-drop. I don't know, it might replace a Poro maybe, but you kind of want the Poros for card draw. Scuttle Crabs are also nice to the card draw. So maybe it's a 1 or 2 of, not the full 3 when you're counting up to 8 for your 8 2-drops. So pretty cool. 5 energy, 1 fury power for a 5 might unit. Morgana, Vindictive with Ambush, which is kind of surprising. When you play me, deal damage to a unit equal to the damage marked on it. So this is pretty good. It makes all your removal, instantly twice as effective. It is pretty expensive though. 5 energy is a lot. Considering what Falling Star is 2 energy, 2 power. Void Seek is 3 energy. So you're looking at spending 2 to 3 energy first and then 5 just to kill something. That's a lot. I mean, at least you get the body out of it. 5 might body's not nothing. And it is location non-specific, so you could play it to battlefield and shoot something in base if that's what you've been doing with Void Seeker and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it's a bit too expensive for my taste, especially considering most of your removal in Fury is fairly low damage anyway. Yeah, I don't know about the card economy on this one. Next, 10 energy to mind power for a gear bottled constellation. At the start of your main phase, you may kill 3 other friendly units and or gear to score 1 point. This is pretty bad. You're essentially taking at least 1 turn off to play the damn thing, and then on the next turn, you then have to kill 3 other things to score an extra point. Yeah, this is pretty bad. You probably are going to have to cheat this gear out somehow. I can't think of a way off the top of my head of doing that, but that's probably the only way to see real plays if you can cheat out gear, and maybe you have lots of recruits or something to sacrifice this thing to score extra points. Yeah, I know, pretty bad. Next up, 2 energy, 1 order power for a spell Lacerate. Choose a unit. If it's empowered, disempower it. Then kill it if it has 3 might or less. And it has flow for 4 energy and 2 order power. This is kind of overcosted for what it is. Call of the week is each player kills a unit for 2 energy, 2 power, but it's unrestricted. The flow is nice, I guess. I mean, I guess if there's something that you care about, an empowered death knell, that might be the only thing because it disempowers it. But otherwise, I don't see why you would play this unless you really need to skimp. Like, you really need to shave down cards in your deck because the flow lets you get off 2 activations for 1 card slot. That's probably the only reason you would play this. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Look, people will probably, correct me somewhere in the comments and tell me I'm completely stupid. But on first blush, this doesn't look like where you want to be. We have another one of our decrees. So we have seen the blue one, the mind one, which was -5 might against body units only. And this is Decree of Discord. So this is Chaos against Order. 1 energy, 1 Chaos power for a spell. Return any number of enemy order units with total might 5 or less to their owner's hands. Yeah, that makes sense. Total might 5 or less to the owner's hands is okay. I mean, it's a non-symmetrical Starcrossed. With not a too bad of a restriction in order anyway. So yeah, perfectly fine. Sort of probably pretty in line with the blue one. But again, these cycle of cards, that we haven't seen all of them yet, but this cycle of cards likely will just end up being sideboard stuff. And only then if the meta has shifted where one particular color is very much overrepresented compared to the others. Next, we have 4 energy, 1 body power gear Hextech disc with empower for exhaust. And then you disempower it, pay 1 energy and exhaust it. Play a 3 mech unit token to your base. It is really a shame that this is not in Fury or Mind, because then Rumble players would rejoice at finally being able to play the, actual fantasy point of Rumble. Yeah. I'm not that enthused because this is every 2 turns you pop out a mech unit in body. You have better stuff to do with your resources than play this, to be honest. Next, 4 energy, 1 fury power for a gear in Fury. Rage amplifier with empower for 6 energy, 1 fury power. Yikes. Your units have +1 might. If I'm empowered, they have +2 might instead. So if we compare this to other card games, so Magic, we call this type of effect an Anthem, where it just gives all your creatures, in Magic anyway, all your creatures +1/+1. In Riftbound, essentially the same thing. You give all your units +1 instead. The only problem is many Anthems in Magic are enchantments, which generally have a lot, fairly more difficult to remove. But Riftbound does not have an extra kind of type yet for specifically, some other form of static effects. So they've chucked it onto a gear, and there's a lot of gear hate running around. Not so much now that Aurelia and Aurora have kind of died down, have pared back a little bit, I should say, but there's still a lot. So yeah, I don't know. You're probably never empowering this as well, by the way, because 4 energy, 1 fury is already for +1 is already, quite a lot. 6 energy, 1 fury, like you probably need more units instead. Like your units are better cost efficiency than just having a +2 on 1 unit that you've managed to keep alive up until that point in the game. So yeah. Next up, 2 energy for a 2 might unit. Gust Monk in Chaos. You may pay 1 energy as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you paid the additional cost, banish a card from any trash to give a unit Assault 2 this turn. So you can choose Gust Monk if you want to with that effect, but since he'll be exhausted, it won't do much. In Chaos, this is kind of weird. It's in Chaos. I would have expected this to be a Fury card. 3 energy to give another unit +2 for a turn while attacking would be okay in a Fury Chaos deck, I think. But otherwise, like you'd rather 2 drops that actually do stuff on board, like when they move or something like that instead, because you need kind of more fast units to score rather than necessarily like things that have buffs in the late game. Yeah, could be okay. Next, 5 energy, 1 order power for a 5 might unit in order. Keeper of Law. I cost 2 energy, 1 order power less if you control a battlefield with exactly 2 units there. They're really trying to make the Shen thing be a thing. If the Shen thing does pull it off, 3 energy for 5 might is pretty wild. If the Shen cannot pull off the Shen thing, which I don't think he can, at least so far, we haven't seen the whole set, so obviously that outlook can change, but I'm still not convinced. You need more things to help you keep exactly 2 units on a battlefield. You don't need more payoffs yet. Payoffs are obviously very important, but usually you only need 1 like big payoff rather than necessarily like a few like kind of shitty ones. And then the rest is supposed to help support the initial game plan to get to your payoff. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Next, 4 energy, 1 order power for a 6 might unit in order. Sacred Protector. I don't deal combat damage unless I'm at a battlefield with exactly 1 other unit you control. Holy yikes. No. You surely have better units to play than this, because if you're not at a battlefield with exactly 1 other unit you control, this does nothing. Except maybe like bounce stuff off of it, but then they just throw more stuff in there. So like, yeah, this ain't it, Chief. Once again, if Shen works out, maybe it's all broken, but there's so many things that need to go right for the initial Shen game plan to even work correctly that these smaller payoffs don't seem worth it to me. But, Next, 1 energy for a 0 might unit in Calm, Steel Paws. It has Deflect and Empower for 7. Once it's empowered, I have +7 might. This is for Nasus. If Nasus can't pull it off, no one can. I don't think you're ever swapping this out for a Scuttle Crab, for example. 1 energy is kind of clunky. Yeah, this is a Nasus thing. Definitely a Nasus thing, because you get discount for it. But, yeah, nah, I don't think so. Next, we have the signature spell for Mel. So 1 energy and 1 mind or chaos power for a signature spell at reaction speed. Rebuttal. Choose a spell with energy cost no more than 4. You may pay 1 power. If you do, gain control of it, and you may make new choices for it. Otherwise, counter it. So, better Defy. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's keep giving counter spells to other colors that aren't green. Yeah, it's just better Defy. It also, because it doesn't have even the power restriction, because Defy, it's 4 or less energy and 1 or less power in terms of what spells you can counter. So this could counter like fight, punch first, those kinds of things that are like really pesky. It is a signature spell, so you can only play it in Mel, but like considering the blue Mel is also already making your spells uncounterable, I don't see why you would need this. Yeah, because you'd much rather than just fill up your deck with stuff that supports your game plan rather than trying to stop whatever they're doing. Because anything big, you're probably going to hard bargain or abandon anyway. Rather than play this, because this would be ironically too small. And if they do play like a punch first or whatever, you're probably going to get more economy out of it if you star-cross your unit back or something like that, than necessarily having 3 slots only for spells that work if they play a spell. So, yeah, that's my reaction to it. I mean, it's 1 energy and 1 power. Like, that's pretty cheap. So I'm not saying it's not going to see play. I think it will see play. I just think if Blue Meld is, as like any good, I don't think this will see play at the same time. Because then you'd rather have more cards that help support your game plan and that you can play on your own momentum, on your own tempo, rather than necessarily having to wait for them to play a spell that then meets those requirements. Next up, 6 energy for a 6 might unit in order, Horns of the Dragon. It just has tank. Yeah, big man with big arms, man. You go for it. Yeah, Joff Chaff. Might be good in limited. 4 energy for a 4 might unit in Fury, Oasis Raider. If you control Fury runes, then an opponent at the start of your beginning phase, give me +2 and ganking this turn. So obviously meant for Renekton. This shouldn't be hard to do in Renekton. It probably goes really well in Renekton as well because of that 4 energy. So it's exactly at the number of runes that you want to be at anyway. He needs to live 3 turns though, because first turn he's exhausted. Second turn you move him into a battlefield, right? At 6 might. So that's fine. But it's the third turn where you fully utilize everything, because you give him ganking. Yeah, he's just very vulnerable on the first turn he comes in. If you're putting this in Renekton anyway. Yeah. I don't know. Could be okay. Next, 4 energy, 1 mind power for a 3 might unit, Sky Cruiser. Discard a gear, spend 1 energy and exhaust it. Deal 4 to a unit at a battlefield. No, you have better stuff to do. If you're discarding gear, then like, why do you have that gear in your deck in the first place, really? Unless this is meant for like Jace or something, I can't remember. Mine's pretty foggy on whether there's anything that lets you get gear back from the graveyard, from the trash, I should say. I mean, you're paying what, 5 minimum for a 3 might deal for? 3, yeah. No, I think there's Joff Chaff. I don't think there's going to see much play. I think that's too much to ask for only a 3 might unit. That's already like below rate. Next, 2 energy for a 1 might unit in Buddy, Noxian Demolitionist. When I conquer, you may kill a gear with energy cost no more than my might. So obviously in Buddy, you're going to pump up your units. So to see this get to 6 is not unheard of, because one punch first gets you there. Yeah, seems pretty neat. Depends on how the meta shakes out, though. Maybe it'd be a sideboard 2-drop against big gear type decks. That's probably where I would place it, because then you would like send this into Conquer on turn 2, punch first, and then kill something of theirs really quick. So yeah, could be good. Next, 2 energy, 1 mind power for a spell, Temporal Breach at slow speed. It does have hidden though. Banish a unit, then its owner plays it to the same location, ignoring its cost. Because it's at slow speed, this really only has utility as a hidden card. Slow speed really hurts this, because you can't blink it in reaction to stuff. Only if you hide it. So yeah, I don't think this is going to see much play, purely for that reason. You need your spells to be doing a lot for you, no matter what situation it is, because you only have 40 cards in your deck, and games right now are going super fast. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you hide it, it does help you dodge, removal and stuff, but considering otherwise that it's at slow speed, nah, I don't think this is going to see much play. Next, we have the official English version of the Green Akali champion unit. 4 energy, 1 calm for 1 calm power for a 4 might champion unit, Akali Silent. I can't be chosen by enemy spells and abilities unless I'm in combat, and then when I move to a battlefield, give me +2 might this turn. This is probably the champion unit that a lot of Akali decks are going to use. I don't think Red Akali is good enough, because the cost to empower it and also get out on the battlefield is a bit too much. Akali and Calm just has, better defense, and also lets you still use your legend ability to good effect. So, yeah, I think Green Akali is much better than Red at the moment, but we'll see what kind of builds shake out. I've already seen quite a few different versions, one which is more about equipment, so has Aurelia, Riven, and recurve bows and stuff to abuse the when I attack triggers to deal damage to stuff. And then there's been others that are more unit focused with gyms and things, so who knows. Next up, we have the Jace Legend in Mind and Body. Defender of Tomorrow has Empower for 2 energy and 2 power. Has 1 and Exhaust, ready a gear, and then when it's empowered, same thing, but ready 2 gear. Yeah, Gear Man is Gear Man. At least you don't have to de-empower them. So you can play your expensive gear and ready them for their exhaust effects. Could be nice. Does kind of get around a little bit of some of those restrictions where you'd have to wait every 2 turns or whatever, because you need to ready it in between. So it could be good. And that brings us to the end of today's previews for the weekend, I should say. So some of them have been pretty cool. We'll have to see what next week brings up. Like I mentioned before, I'll be putting up a huge video for this week instead of doing daily ones, because I'm just busy for most of this week. You can also expect the Summoner Skirmish at Spellroo to go up within the week as well, once I can extract that from my laptop and edit it down a little bit. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see what the rest of the Vendetta preview season has to offer.